Lazar's story is by any standards fantastic. He says he's telling it in order to protect himself. He says he was hired to work at an area called S4, which is a few miles south of Groom Lake.
For decades, Bob Lazar's claims about element 115 have sparked heated debates and fueled one of the most captivating UFO mysteries. His story about a mysterious substance, allegedly powering alien spacecraft, changed the conversation on UFOs and government secrecy forever.
Right, this came from somewhere else. I mean, as bizarre as that is to believe, but I mean, it's there, I saw it. I know what the current state of the art is in physics. And
while his claims initially sounded far-fetched, years later, science caught up in unexpected ways. Now the truth about element 115 has been revealed, and it's not what you think. This story challenges everything we thought we knew about the line between fact, fiction, and hidden truths. Let's take a deeper look. Who is Bob Lazar? To understand the mystery of element 115, we first need to know the man who brought it into the public eye, Bob Lazar. Born in the late 1950s, Lazar was fascinated by engineering and mechanics from an early age. He built jet-powered machines in his teens, including a bicycle, a Honda, and eventually a dragster. This early innovation made him seem credible when he later claimed to work on projects far beyond the reach of most engineers. Lazar's public debut came in November 1989 when he appeared in a televised interview with journalist George Knapp. He described working at a secretive facility called S4 near Area 51 in Nevada. Lazar said he had been hired to reverse engineer extraterrestrial spacecraft. At the time, Area 51 was already notorious for its secrecy, making his story even more intriguing. Lazar's main claim was that alien propulsion systems were powered by a mysterious element 115. He described it as the fuel for an antimatter reactor that produced its own gravitational field, allowing UFOs to achieve impossible maneuvers. Though Lazar's background raised questions, such as unverified claims of education at MIT and Caltech, his supporters pointed out that he mentioned specific details about Area 51 and element 115 years before they became widely known. This added to his credibility. While some viewed him as a whistleblower, others saw him as a fabricator. The discovery of element 115. When Lazar first talked about element 115, the substance didn't exist on the periodic table. It was just a theoretical element, never seen or synthesized in a lab. Lazar described how, when bombarded with protons, element 115 would produce an intense gravitational field, allowing alien craft to bend space-time, hover, and travel through space instantaneously. At the time, scientists dismissed these claims as pseudoscience. No one had ever observed element 115, and skeptics argued that such an element, if it did exist, would likely be unstable and unsuitable for use as fuel. However, Lazar's supporters noted that his descriptions of Area 51 and element 115 were ahead of their time. More importantly, Lazar's reference to element 115 came years before it was officially discovered. This created an intriguing possibility. Could Lazar have known something the scientific community hadn't yet uncovered? In the early 2000s, scientists in Russia and the United States made a groundbreaking discovery. They synthesized element 115, now known as Moscovium, and placed it on the periodic table, bringing Lazar's claims into the spotlight. From ununpentium to Moscovium. In 2003, a joint team of Russian and American scientists finally created element 115 using a particle accelerator. They bombarded americium atoms with calcium ions, creating fleeting atoms of the element before they quickly decayed. Initially called ununpentium, meaning 115 in Latin, the element was officially named Moscovium in 2016, in honor of Moscow, where the research was conducted. It was a huge achievement for the scientific community. However, Moscovium's properties were nothing like Lazar had described. The element is highly unstable, with its longest-lived isotope decaying in less than a second. Its most stable isotope, Moscovium 289, has a half-life of just 220 milliseconds. This instability made it impossible to use it as a fuel source, or to study it in depth. It certainly couldn't generate anti-gravity fields, or power our advanced propulsion systems. Skeptics quickly pointed to Moscovium's instability as proof that Lazar's claims were exaggerated or fabricated, but Lazar's supporters argued that while the laboratory-made versions were unstable, there could be a naturally occurring version of element 115 in the universe, one stable enough to function as Lazar described. The question of stability. The discovery of Moscovium highlighted the mystery of the island of stability. This theory suggests that super-heavy elements might exist with longer half-lives. If a stable isotope of element 115 were found, it could have properties Lazar described. This kept the debate about Lazar's story alive, with many wondering if science had only scratched the surface. Although Moscovium's instability makes it unusable for advanced propulsion, Lazar's supporters believe that a more stable form of element 115 could exist somewhere in the universe. This possibility keeps his claims from being completely dismissed. The UFO phenomenon and changing perspectives. For decades, UFO sightings were written off as misidentifications or hoaxes. However, in 2017, major media outlets reported leaked military footage showing unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, tracked by Navy pilots. These objects exhibited flight patterns that defied conventional explanations, including rapid acceleration and sudden changes in direction. The Pentagon confirmed the authenticity of these encounters, signaling that UAPs were worthy of serious investigation. This acknowledgement marked a turning point, suggesting that advanced aerial technology might exist beyond our current understanding. For some, it even lent credibility to Lazar's decades-old claims about reverse engineering alien spacecraft at S4. Despite the recognition of UAPs, the scientific community remains cautious. Researchers stress the need for verifiable data before jumping to conclusions about extraterrestrial origins. The same caution applies to Lazar's element 115 narrative. While it remains unproven, it continues to fuel debate. The physics of anti-gravity and interstellar travel. At the heart of Lazar's claims is a propulsion system capable of generating its own gravitational field using element 115. According to Lazar, this allowed alien craft to bend space-time and travel through space efficiently. However, current physics doesn't support such technology. The concept of anti-gravity is captivating, but Einstein's theory of general relativity tells us that gravity is the curvature of space-time caused by mass. Manipulating gravity directly would require interactions with space-time itself in ways we don't yet understand. A similar idea is the warp drive, proposed by physicist Miguel Alcubierre in 1994. This theoretical drive would contract space in front of a spacecraft and expand it behind, allowing faster-than-light travel. However, it would require exotic matter with negative energy density, which we have yet to discover. Could element 115 be the exotic matter needed for such a warp drive? Lazar believed so, but current scientific studies of Moscovium show none of these properties. It decays too quickly to be useful in any meaningful way. The Lazar effect and public division. Bob Lazar's story has continued to divide public opinion for over 3 decades. His supporters argue that Lazar was the first to bring attention to Area 51 and Element 115, years before they became widely known. Some point to polygraph tests, which reportedly supported his claims, as evidence of his truthfulness. On the other hand, skeptics highlight the lack of hard evidence. Lazar's academic credentials remain unverified, and no one has come forward to substantiate his claims of working on alien spacecraft. Critics argue that his story conflicts with established scientific understanding, especially regarding the instability of element 115. The media has played a crucial role in amplifying these divisions. Lazar's supporters see him as a whistleblower, while skeptics view him as a fabricator. The Lazar effect has made him a central figure in UFO discussions, keeping the debate alive for over 30 years. Parallel cases, and the bigger picture. Lazar's story is part of a larger pattern of individuals who have made extraordinary claims about government secrecy and alien contact. Philip Schneider, Paul Benowitz, Gary McKinnon, and even astronaut Edgar Mitchell have all shared similar accounts of hidden technologies and extraterrestrial encounters. While none of these claims have been definitively verified, they have contributed to the broader mythology surrounding UFOs and secret government projects. These parallel cases, along with Lazar's story, raise important questions about the boundaries of what we know. Could there be more to the mysteries of UFOs and extraterrestrial technology than we realize? The truth about Element 115. Element 115, now officially known as Moscovium, is real, but not in the way Lazar described. While it has been synthesized in labs, its properties are far from the miraculous fuel Lazar envisioned. Moscovium is highly unstable, decaying in fractions of a second, and showing no signs of producing gravitational fields or antimatter reactions. Despite this, Lazar's early mention of Element 115, years before its discovery, remains a key point in his story. Was Lazar simply lucky, or did he have access to hidden knowledge? The answer may never be clear, but the existence of Moscovium raises intriguing questions about the nature of scientific discovery and the possibilities that remain unexplored. What this means for the future. The discovery of Element 115 has brought us closer to understanding the mysteries Lazar spoke of, but it hasn't confirmed his story. While the element is real, it doesn't exhibit the extraordinary properties Lazar claimed. Yet the ongoing search for stable, super-heavy elements and the mysteries of UFOs suggest that we are far from understanding everything there is to know about the universe. For now, Lazar's story remains an enigma, one that bridges the gap between science, speculation, and mystery. Whether or not his claims were accurate, they have left an indelible mark on the conversation about UFOs, government secrecy, and the limits of human knowledge. What do you think? Was Lazar truly glimpsing a stable isotope of Element 115 that science has yet to find, or was he simply a storyteller whose tale accidentally aligned with future discoveries? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.